Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you. Charles Strouse, the extraordinary composer whose melodies defined generations of American theater and television, passed away peacefully on May 15, 2025, at the age of 96. A master of storytelling through song, Strauss's work has left an indelible mark on Broadway, film, and pop culture alike. Born in New York City in 1928, Charles found his earliest connection to music through his mother, a pianist whose own sorrow was soothed by his early attempts at the piano. That childhood spark ignited a remarkable 7-decade career. After studying under the legendary Aaron Copland and Nadia Boulanger, Strauss emerged as a voice that would shape musical theater. His first Broadway show, Bye Bye Birdie, 1960, earned him his first Tony and introduced the world to the now iconic Put on a Happy Face. But it was Annie, 1977, with its timeless anthem, Tomorrow, that became his defining work. Strauss's ability to craft melodies filled with hope and humanity earned him 3 Tony Awards, an Emmy, and 2 Grammys. Yet even legends face obstacles. Not every show found success, and Strauss was candid about the heartbreak of projects that didn't soar. But he never wavered. "You've done your best. It didn't work. What's next?" he told students, a testament to his resilience and humility. He also made his mark on television with Those Were the Days, the unforgettable theme to All in the Family, and on film with scores for Bonnie and Clyde and All Dogs Go to Heaven. Charles Strauss's legacy is more than just music. It's the joy in a child's first song, the comfort in a familiar melody, and the courage to keep creating. His songs, full of warmth, wit, and wonder, will continue to inspire today, tomorrow, and always. Joan O'Brien, the elegant actress and singer who graced both screen and stage in the golden era of film, passed away at the age of 89. Born on Valentine's Day in 1936 in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Joan's life was destined for the spotlight, a path that would lead her from California TV studios to Hollywood's biggest stars. Her career began in song, charming audiences on Hometown Jamboree and The Bob Crosby Show. But it was her memorable turn opposite Cary Grant in Operation Petticoat that brought her into the hearts of moviegoers. With her comedic timing and effortless poise, Joan proved she could hold her own alongside legends. She soon starred with Elvis Presley in It Happened at the World's Fair, where her portrayal of a kind-hearted nurse won over both the King of Rock and a generation of fans. Throughout the early 1960s, she shared the screen with icons like John Wayne in The Alamo and The Comancheros, and delighted TV audiences with guest roles on The Dick Van Dyke Show, Bat Masterson, and Wagon Train. But Joan's journey wasn't without hardship. In 1965, a personal crisis quietly led her to step away from acting. Even so, she remained connected to the entertainment world, performing as a vocalist with Harry James's band and leaving behind a legacy of grace, talent, and resilience. Though her time in the spotlight was brief, Joan O'Brien left a lasting impression. She brought warmth to every role, music to every room, and a quiet dignity to her life's later chapters. Her performances still glow in the memories of those who watched her rise, and her story is a tribute to the quiet strength behind a classic Hollywood smile. Breaking news. This is a story that stretches from Oscar-winning triumph to the brink of personal collapse, from lavish castles to a rented apartment, from box office heights to quiet artistic rebirth. We are talking about Nicolas Cage, an actor whose name once meant explosive action, eccentric choices, and unpredictable brilliance. But who is Nicolas Cage beyond the chaos? How did he survive Hollywood, financial ruin, and the pressures of legacy? And what can we learn from his story of reinvention? Born Nicholas Kim Coppola on January 7, 1964, in Long Beach, California, Cage grew up in the heart of a film dynasty. He is the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola, director of the Godfather trilogy. But from an early age, Cage was determined to succeed not because of his family name, but despite it. He took the surname Cage, inspired by the Marvel character Luke Cage, and set out to carve a path entirely his own. By the mid-1990s, Cage had become a household name. After early roles in Raising Arizona and Moonstruck, he stunned audiences with his deeply emotional performance in Leaving Las Vegas, 1995, portraying a man in freefall. That role earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor. Suddenly, he was everywhere, in action thrillers like The Rock, 1996, Con Air, 1997, and Face Off, 1997, commanding massive audiences with a blend of intensity and charm that felt both dangerous and vulnerable. He was not just a leading man, he was a cultural phenomenon. People quoted his characters, mimicked his voice, and awaited his next wild performance. He seemed unstoppable, moving from action to drama to the occasional absurd comedy with a fearless devotion to his craft. But success came with a price. As his career soared, so did his lifestyle. Cage bought everything from rare comic books to a haunted mansion, from a private island to a dinosaur skull. At one point, he owned 15 properties, including 2 European castles. It was extravagant, eccentric, and unsustainable. The financial fallout hit hard. By 2009, the collapse came. Cage owed the IRS over $6 million in unpaid taxes. Lawsuits followed. The media called him reckless. Critics dismissed his film choices. Once a staple of major studios, he found himself starring in obscure, low-budget films, sometimes several per year. For many, Nicolas Cage had become a punchline. But this is where Cage's story takes an unexpected turn. He never declared bankruptcy. He never gave up. Instead, Cage chose to work, tirelessly. From 2010 to 2019, he starred in dozens of low-budget films, some forgettable, some fascinating. But each project represented survival. "Work was always my guardian angel," he later said. "When I did not work, I felt lost." And then, slowly, the tides began to turn. Cage embraced the weird, the wild, the artistic. In Mandy, 2018, he delivered a performance of almost operatic intensity. In Pig, 2021, he stripped it all back, offering a soft-spoken, devastating portrayal of a reclusive chef in search of his stolen truffle pig. The role earned him some of the best reviews of his career. Critics called it a comeback. Cage called it a relief. These films were not just critically acclaimed, they reintroduced Cage to a new generation of film lovers. Younger audiences discovered his earlier work and viewed him not as a relic of the past, but as a vibrant, fearless actor, capable of delivering brilliance when given the space to be vulnerable and strange. Behind the scenes, something else was happening: transformation. Cage became more reflective. He stopped drinking. He married Riko Shibata, and in 2022, welcomed a daughter. "Fatherhood again at this point in my life has grounded me," he said. He began to sleep early, sometimes by 7:30 p.m. He sought solitude, creativity, and stability. He stopped chasing fame. He started chasing meaning. His health became a priority. After decades of physical roles and emotional exhaustion, Cage began focusing on recovery, emotionally and physically. He spoke of how being sober improved his artistic clarity. He became selective with roles, choosing projects like The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, 2022, where he plays a fictionalized version of himself. The film, self-aware and surprisingly heartfelt, showed that Cage was in on the joke, but also in control of the narrative. In 2025, Cage took on an unexpected role, that of football coaching legend John Madden, in an upcoming biopic directed by David O. Russell. First-look images stunned fans. Could Cage, known for eccentricity, channel the grit and heart of one of football's most iconic figures? The answer, early insiders say, is a resounding yes. Even as his acting continues to evolve, drama has never fully left his life. In early 2025, his son, Weston Coppola Cage, faced legal issues after a reported altercation with his mother. Though Cage was not directly involved, the case drew attention. His silence spoke volumes. He did not seek headlines. He sought peace. There were also near disasters on set. While filming The Surfer, 2024, Cage was nearly swept away by a dangerous tide. "I really thought it might be the end," he said afterward. But he survived, completed the shoot, and delivered a haunting performance as a man confronting aging and regret. He also embraced new creative frontiers. In a surprising move, Cage voiced Spider Noir in an upcoming live-action noir series set in 1930s New York. The project has drawn early excitement and marks his return to serialized storytelling. Once hesitant about long-form television, Cage changed his mind after watching Breaking Bad, calling it a masterpiece. As Cage continues to redefine his career, he remains grounded in purpose. He often speaks about the influence of David Bowie, who told him never to feel too comfortable in his art. That advice has become a mantra. Cage now seeks projects that stretch him, unsettle him, challenge him to remain raw and unpredictable. He has also become a symbol of endurance. Fans admire not just his performances, but his resilience, his ability to weather scandal, financial disaster, and public ridicule while never abandoning his passion. He has acted in over 100 films, not out of desperation, but determination. Cage's legacy is still being written. With each new role, he adds depth to a portrait of a man who never stopped creating. He has won major awards, lost fortunes, faced humiliation, and yet somehow emerged more human, more self-aware, and more committed to the craft than ever before. His story is no longer just about fame or fortune. It is about survival, transformation, and ultimately, peace. Today, he lives a quieter life, far from the chaos of his earlier years. He paints, he writes, he spends time with his family, and when he steps back onto a film set, he brings with him the weight of experience, not just as an actor, but as a man who has lived through storms and found stillness. So the next time you see Nicolas Cage on screen, whether he is fighting gangsters, quoting Edgar Allan Poe, or staring silently into a dark forest, remember that you are not just watching a performance. You are witnessing the evolution of an artist who refused to fade. How do you feel about Nicolas Cage's journey? Has his resilience inspired you in any way? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because his story, like the man himself, is far from ordinary. Sometimes, the wildest stories are the ones that never end. And in Nicolas Cage's case, the best may still be on the horizon. Ruth Buzzi was a trailblazing force in American comedy, bringing warmth, wit, and unforgettable characters to television screens for more than 4 decades. Best known for her role as the frumpy, no-nonsense Gladys Ormsby on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, Buzzi turned a small character into a cultural icon. A woman with a hairnet, a sharp tongue, and a swinging purse who stood up for the ignored and overlooked. Born in 1936 in Rhode Island and raised in Connecticut, Ruth trained at the Pasadena Playhouse and quickly made her mark in entertainment. She was the only cast member to appear in all 6 seasons of Laugh-In, earning a Golden Globe and multiple Emmy nominations. Beyond that, she charmed audiences with her versatility, From voicing beloved cartoon characters in Pound Puppies and Berenstain Bears, to playing shopkeeper Ruthie on Sesame Street, to lighting up variety shows and Broadway stages, her humor was never mean-spirited, always clever and deeply human. Even as health challenges came later in life, including memory loss and strokes, Ruth stayed connected with fans. Through her vibrant social media presence, she shared daily wit and wisdom with more than 200,000 followers, proving that laughter knows no age limit. Ruth Buzzy passed away on May 1, 2025, at the age of 88, at her home in Texas. Her legacy is not only the laughter she inspired, but the strength, humility, and joy she carried throughout her remarkable life. She reminded us all that sometimes the quietest voices leave the loudest echoes. Wink Martindale, a beloved voice in American broadcasting and television, left an enduring legacy through his unmistakable charm, rich voice, and boundless enthusiasm. Born in 1933 in Jackson, Tennessee, Martindale began his career as a teenage disc jockey, eventually becoming one of the most recognizable game show hosts in history. His journey spanned over 7 decades, from the golden days of radio to the heights of television, hosting iconic programs like Tic-Tac-Dough, Gambit, and High Rollers. Long before his game show fame, Martindale made history in 1954 by arranging Elvis Presley's very first radio interview, helping launch a musical revolution. His own 1959 spoken-word hit, Deck of Cards, sold over 1 million copies and showcased his talent as a storyteller. But it was on television that Wink truly found his calling, bringing warmth and dignity to the role of host. With over 20 game shows to his name, he became a household favorite, always calm, gracious, and ready with a smile. Martindale's career was not without challenges. Transitioning from radio to television demanded presence, charisma, and resilience, all of which he embraced with humility. He weathered changes in the entertainment industry with grace, becoming not just a host, but a symbol of kindness and professionalism. Wink Martindale passed away on April 15, 2025, at the age of 91. His memory lives on in the laughter of contestants, the excitement of game show fans, and the timeless quality of a voice that felt like home. Through every era, Wink reminded us that warmth, humor, and genuine connection never go out of style. We remember Tony Roberts, a beloved stage and screen actor whose steady grace and intelligent charm brought depth to every role he embraced. Born in New York City in 1939, Roberts grew up surrounded by voices. His father, Ken Roberts, was a prominent radio announcer. That early exposure to performance ignited a lifelong passion for storytelling, one he pursued with unwavering dedication. Tony Roberts built a remarkable career that spanned more than 5 decades, leaving an indelible mark on both Broadway and Hollywood. He was known to many as the witty and sophisticated companion in 6 of Woody Allen's films, most memorably Annie Hall and Play It Again, Sam. But beyond the silver screen, he found his true home on stage. With 23 Broadway productions to his name, including Victor Victoria, Barefoot in the Park, and The Tale of the Allergist's Wife, Roberts was a pillar of American theater, twice nominated for Tony Awards and always a trusted presence in high-profile productions. Throughout his journey, Roberts faced the unique challenge of being widely recognized, yet often unnamed by the public. He embraced this paradox with good humor, even titling his 2015 memoir, Do You Know Me? A consummate professional, he brought elegance to every performance, earning the respect of his peers and the affection of audiences. Tony Roberts passed away on February 7, 2025, at the age of 85, due to complications from lung cancer. His legacy lives on in the countless characters he brought to life with dignity, wit, and heart. For generations of theatergoers and film lovers alike, Roberts remains a symbol of quiet brilliance and enduring craft. Johnny Rodriguez, a trailblazing voice in country music, touched the hearts of millions with his heartfelt lyrics, rich vocals, and cultural pride. Born in Sabinal, Texas in the early 1950s, Rodriguez was one of the first Mexican-American artists to break into mainstream country music, a genre that, until then, had rarely embraced Latino performers. His journey began with a move to Nashville at 21, where his voice soon found a home. His debut single, Pass Me By, If You're Only Passing Through, quickly rose on the charts, paving the way for a remarkable series of hits in the 1970s, including You Always Come Back to Hurting Me, Ridin' My Thumb to Mexico, and That's the Way Love Goes. With 6 number-1 songs and a string of top 10 albums, Rodriguez's music became a soulful bridge between cultures, blending traditional country storytelling with a distinct Southwestern spirit. Throughout his life, Rodriguez faced personal and professional challenges, including moments that tested his resilience. Yet he remained committed to his art, performing well into his later years and staying close to his South Texas roots. In 2007, his contributions were honored with an induction into the Texas Country Music Hall of Fame. Johnny Rodriguez passed away on May 9, 2025, at the age of 73 due to health complications. He was surrounded by loved ones. His daughter, Aubrey, remembered him as a devoted father and a man whose warmth, humor, and music left a lasting imprint on all who knew him. Today, his songs still echo across country radio and memory alike, reminders of a voice that helped redefine the genre and open doors for generations to come. Jeannot Szwarc, the Paris-born filmmaker whose gentle storytelling and visual elegance touched generations, passed away on January 14, 2025, in Loches, France, at the age of 87 due to respiratory failure. Best known for directing Somewhere in Time and Jaws 2, Szwarc was more than just a director. He was a quiet craftsman who let the stories speak louder than his name. Born on November 21, 1937, in Paris, Szwarc spent part of his childhood in Argentina before returning to France and later earning a degree from Harvard University. His path to Hollywood was anything but direct, but once there, he made an indelible mark on both film and television. He began in the 1970s directing episodes for shows like Night Gallery and Ironside, eventually rising to helm-beloved series such as Grey's Anatomy, Bones, Smallville, and The Practice, directing hundreds of episodes over decades. Yet, it was Somewhere in Time, 1980, starring Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour, that became his most personal and enduring legacy. Created with minimal budget and maximum heart, the film evolved into a cult classic that still resonates with audiences seeking timeless love and quiet beauty. Szwarc's career was filled with challenges, stepping in to salvage Jaws 2 mid-production, navigating studios indifferent to passion projects. But he always pressed on with grace and purpose. He brought a European sensitivity to American television, and in doing so, elevated countless stories with care and craftsmanship. Remembered as a kind and humble artist, Jeannot Szwarc leaves behind a body of work defined not by fame, but by feeling. His legacy will endure, quietly like his spirit, but powerfully like his art. Lar Park Lincoln, the actress cherished for her unforgettable roles in Knots Landing and Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, passed away on April 22, 2025, at the age of 63. Her passing followed a private health battle, including her resilience in facing breast cancer, a journey that reflected her strength both on and off screen. Born Lori Jill Park on May 12, 1961, in Dallas, Texas, Lar first captured the public's attention as the complex and captivating Linda Fairgate on the hit CBS drama Knots Landing. With a smile that could charm and eyes that held secrets, she brought life to a character both conniving and magnetic, a woman audiences loved to watch even when she stirred up trouble. She later became a beloved figure in horror cinema, playing the telekinetic Tina Shepard in Friday the 13th Part 7. Her character, standing toe-to-toe with Jason Voorhees, remains one of the franchise's most iconic heroines, fierce, vulnerable, and unforgettable. Beyond acting, Lar was a mentor, author, and entrepreneur. She founded Actors Audition Studios in Dallas, guiding aspiring performers with honesty and care. Her 2008 memoir, Get Started, Not Scammed, empowered young talent navigating the entertainment industry. Her warmth also reached viewers on QVC, where she spent nearly 2 decades sharing beauty and lifestyle tips, and through her fashion brand, Piper Alexander Collection. Lar is survived by her 2 children, Piper and Trevor, her sister, brother, grandchildren, and countless students and fans whose lives she touched. Her legacy is one of empowerment, resilience, and a deep, enduring love for the craft of storytelling. Jiggly Caliente, the beloved performer, advocate, and television personality, passed away peacefully on April 27, 2025, at the age of 44, surrounded by her devoted family and close friends. Her passing followed complications from a severe infection, which had led to major surgery in recent weeks. Yet through it all, her spirit remained radiant, a reflection of the life she lived and the love she gave. Born Bianca Castro Arabejo in San Pedro, Philippines, Jiggly moved to New York as a child and went on to become a cherished figure in the global entertainment community. She rose to prominence on Season 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race, where her humor, heart, and fearless authenticity made her an instant fan favorite. She returned in All Stars Season 6 and, in 2022, became a judge on Drag Race Philippines, serving for 3 seasons and bringing compassion and wisdom to the panel. Jiggly's talents reached far beyond reality television. She appeared on acclaimed series such as Pose, Search Party, and Saturday Night Live, and in 2018 released her debut album, THOT Process, featuring fellow artists from the Drag Race family. Offstage, she used her voice to advocate for the LGBTQ+ and transgender communities with fierce grace and purpose. Her journey was not without challenges. Jiggly navigated adversity with unmatched resilience, never hiding her truth, and always lifting others as she rose. She leaves behind a legacy of empowerment, laughter, and light, a life that opened doors and hearts across the world. Jiggly Caliente will be forever remembered for her radiant presence, her boundless courage, and the safe, joyful space she created for so many to simply be themselves. Max Romeo, the Jamaican reggae icon, whose voice carried messages of resilience, spirit, and justice, left a powerful legacy that continues to resonate deeply across generations. Known for his timeless classics like War Ina Babylon and Chase the Devil, Max brought the heartbeat of Jamaica to the world, inspiring countless listeners through his deeply reflective lyrics and unwavering commitment to truth. Born Maxwell Livingston Smith in St. Andrew Parish, Jamaica, Max's journey began humbly, working on a sugar plantation before his musical gifts led him to Kingston. There, he found his path and began a career that would span decades and touch millions. With his breakthrough hit in the late 1960s, he challenged norms and sparked conversations. But it was during the politically charged 1970s that Max truly came into his own, crafting music that not only entertained, but awakened and uplifted. His collaboration with visionary producer Lee Scratch Perry produced one of reggae's most beloved albums, War Ina Babylon. The tracks became anthems for peace, self-awareness, and cultural pride, an enduring soundtrack for change. In the years that followed, Max's voice reached new audiences, including collaborations with international acts and performances around the globe. Despite his vibrant energy and continued dedication to music, Max faced health challenges in his later years due to a heart condition. Yet, he remained active in what he loved most, performing with his children and sharing his music with the world. His final album, Words from the Brave, reflected his enduring passion and strength. Max Romeo was more than a singer. He was a messenger, a father, and a cultural treasure. As we reflect on his remarkable life and lasting influence, we honor the music, the message, and the man behind them all. Buck White, the heart and soul behind the legendary family group The Whites, brought joy, harmony, and faith to generations of country and bluegrass fans. At 94, Buck completed a remarkable life filled with music, laughter, and unwavering devotion to his family and faith. Born in Texas in 1930, Buck's musical journey began in dance halls and on radio shows where he shared his talents on mandolin and piano. With a deep-rooted passion for music and family, he eventually formed Buck White and the Down Home Folks alongside his talented daughters. As their voices blended into a distinctive harmony, the Whites were born, a group that would go on to grace the Grand Ole Opry stage for over 40 years. Buck's life in music was not just about melodies, but moments that mattered. From touring with Emmylou Harris to contributing to the beloved Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Soundtrack, Buck's legacy is etched into the very soul of American roots music. His sense of humor, warm presence, and deep commitment to faith left a lasting impression on all who knew him. His daughters lovingly recalled him as a father who led by example, placing faith first and embracing life with joy and mischief. Despite the natural challenges that come with age, Buck remained vibrant, engaged, and surrounded by music until his final days. The Whites' work earned multiple Grammy Awards, CMA honors, and recognition in the Texas Music Hall of Fame, a testament to Buck's lifelong dedication. As fans reflect on his journey, Buck White is remembered not only for his music, but for the love and legacy he passed on through his family and his faith-filled melodies. His spirit continues to shine in every note, every harmony, and every heart he touched. Tracy Fzen, a beloved figure in Canadian media, brought passion, purpose, and a rare spark of wisdom to every corner of the film and television world she touched. With a career spanning decades, Tracy left behind a legacy rooted in storytelling, compassion, and a deep belief in the power of media to drive meaningful change. Born in central British Columbia and raised in Deep Cove, Tracy's journey began with a love for broadcasting. After studying at Ryerson University, the University of British Columbia, and earning her MBA at Simon Fraser, she quickly became a vital part of Canada's creative landscape. From her early days at CBC to her time at Rainmaker Digital Effects, Tracy stood out, not just for her talent, but for her vision. As an executive producer at the National Film Board of Canada, Tracy shepherded award-winning projects that explored identity, environment, and human spirit. Her work on films like Being Caribou and Scared Sacred reflected her unwavering commitment to thoughtful storytelling. Later, she championed independent voices through roles at Roundhouse Radio, the David Suzuki Foundation, and as managing VP of the Canadian Media Producers Association. In September 2024, Tracy was diagnosed with cancer. She passed away peacefully in Vancouver this January, surrounded by the community she helped shape. Friends and colleagues remember her for her radiant optimism, clear thinking, and a warmth that touched all who met her. Tracy Fzen was more than a producer. She was a mentor, an author, and a leader who never lost sight of the people and planet at the heart of her work. Her legacy endures through the stories she helped bring to life and the lives she inspired along the way. Our next story is about someone whose presence may not have filled red carpets, but who deeply touched the lives of everyone he met, both on and off the set. We're talking about Nathaniel "Nate" Pelier, the beloved When Calls the Heart, cast member whose warmth, humility, and joy made him a quiet cornerstone of the Hallmark family. Before we dive in, we'd love to hear from you. If you've ever watched, When calls the heart, what's one moment or memory that stands out? Share it in the comments. Your stories matter. Nate passed away suddenly on April 11, 2025, at the age of 53, while at home in Langley, British Columbia. The cause of his passing remains unknown, but what we do know is the deep impact he left behind. Known to fans as the friendly taxi driver in the long-running series, Nate was more than just a background character. He was a quiet presence whose warmth made the fictional town feel real. Off-screen, he worked tirelessly in the transport department, helping keep production running smoothly. He was, in many ways, the heartbeat of the set. His colleagues didn't just admire him, they loved him. Martin Cummins, who plays Henry Gowan, called Nate a gentle soul and one of a kind. In a moving tribute, he described hours spent off-camera with Nate in quiet conversation or building bikes for their kids. The kind of behind-the-scenes moments that reveal a person's true character. Nate once called his cast and crew his work family, and that wasn't just a phrase. He showed up for others, often before being asked, and greeted every challenge and every person with a big smile and a warm handshake. There's still so much we don't know about what happened in Nate's final moments, but those who knew him best say his legacy is crystal clear. It's in the laughter he brought, the kindness he gave, and the way he made every day just a little brighter. So now we want to hear from you. If you met Nate, saw him at a Hardee's reunion, or felt touched by his story, share your memories below. Let's honor Nathaniel Pelier, not just for the role he played on screen, but for the rare spirit he brought into the world. Breaking news: Gary Sinise, From Hollywood to Heartbreak, and the legacy that lives on. For decades, Gary Sinise was known to millions as the actor who played unforgettable roles in films like Forrest Gump, Apollo 13, and CSI NY. But behind the scenes, the man who brought Lieutenant Dan to life was living through a much more personal, profound, and painful story. A story not of fame, but of family, loss, and love that transcends death. Today, he isn't on set or walking red carpets. Instead, he spends his days in Tennessee, holding his grandchildren close, supporting veterans through his foundation, and carrying forward the musical legacy of his late son, Mac. But before we dive in, tell us this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Gary Sinise, not just as an actor, but as a father? Let us know in the comments. The rise of a Hollywood patriot. Gary Sinise's career began on the stage, co-founding the legendary Steppenwolf Theater Company in Chicago. His transition to screen was seamless. In 1994, his portrayal of Lieutenant Dan, a wounded, cynical Vietnam War veteran in Forrest Gump, earned him an Academy Award nomination and immortalized his image as a champion of veterans. He became a symbol of grit, resilience, and redemption. Throughout the 2000s, Sinise continued to rise, starring in CSI NY for 9 seasons, hosting concerts with his Lieutenant Dan Band to entertain troops, and founding the Gary Sinise Foundation in 2011 to support military service members and first responders. At a glance, his life seemed like a highlight reel of achievement and public service. But real life was more complicated. A double diagnosis that changed everything. In late 2016, Sinise's wife of over 4 decades, Moira Harris, was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. The news shook their world. As she underwent 8 rounds of chemotherapy and 35 sessions of radiation, Sinise was her rock. But life had another devastating turn in store. Just 18 months later, their son, Mac, a talented musician and composer, began experiencing chronic pain in his tailbone. At first, doctors suspected a minor injury, but further scans revealed something far more terrifying. Mac had a tumor at the base of his spine. The diagnosis? Chordoma, a rare and aggressive form of bone cancer. Only 300 people in the US are diagnosed with chordoma each year. Mac was one of the unlucky few. And suddenly, Gary Sinise's real-life role changed. He wasn't an actor anymore. He was a caregiver, a fighter, and most of all, a father trying to save his son. The long goodbye. From 2018 through 2023, Sinis put his career on hold. Mac underwent multiple surgeries, rounds of radiation, and painful recoveries. In 2020 alone, he spent 6 of the first 8 months in the hospital. The cancer eventually paralyzed him from the chest down. Yet through it all, Mac remained hopeful and focused on what he could still do: create music. With his mobility fading, Mac taught himself to play the harmonica with one good hand. He revisited compositions he had written during college and, with the help of fellow musicians and his father's support, recorded what would become his first album, Resurrection and Revival. It was released shortly before his death. He passed away on January 5, 2024, at just 33 years old. The healing power of music. For Sinise, the loss was shattering. But he found purpose in preserving his son's legacy. Digging through Mac's hard drives, he discovered dozens of unfinished pieces. He reached out to Mac's former classmates and bandmates, including composer Oliver Schnee, and began producing a second album, Resurrection and Revival Part 2. "I didn't want his music to disappear on his laptop," Sinise said. "I wanted the world to hear it." Both albums are now available, and proceeds go to the Gary Sinise Foundation, a way to connect Mac's love for music with his father's mission to serve. Sinise hopes one day a full orchestra will perform the compositions live. A quiet life, loud in love. These days, Sinise isn't focused on scripts or auditions. He's focused on what matters most: family. Living in rural Tennessee, he helps care for his grandchildren, spends time with Moira, and continues his foundation work. He admits that he may never return to acting full-time. "After losing Mac, I hold my daughters tighter," he said. "I don't want to miss the small things." The move from California was not just financial, but emotional. Tennessee gave him the space to grieve, the calm to reflect, and the closeness he needed with those he loves. Why this story resonates. So why is Gary Sinise's story resonating so powerfully right now? Because it's real. It's raw. It speaks to anyone who has cared for a sick loved one, lost someone too soon, or struggled to move forward while carrying grief. There's no scandal here. No dramatic fall from grace, just the quiet heroism of a man choosing love over legacy, presence over prestige. In a world where fame often outshines humanity, Gary Sinise reminds us what really matters. Your turn. What do you think of Gary Sinise's journey? Have you been touched by his story, or by someone in your own life who showed strength through sorrow? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if Mac's music moved you, share it. Because sometimes the most powerful legacies aren't the ones broadcast from the stage. They're the ones left in the hearts of those who stay behind. You just say a little prayer, get back up, and go back into the fight. Gary Sinise.